Good morning. Good morning, GM, everyone, and welcome to another episode of FOMO Hour. Today is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. Folks, yesterday we said it was going to be Turnaround Tuesday. In fact, it was a historic Turnaround Tuesday, the biggest intraday turnaround in stock market history, but it went the wrong way. And now China is clapping back on tariffs along with the European Union. It felt like the sky was falling last night, this morning. And the question is, can we even turn this back around anytime soon? Or are we in for a lot more pain? We're going to break it all down on today's show. No Farouk, he's still at Blockchain Week. Manda will be joining us very likely here in just a few minutes. But while we wait, we still have Logan on with us live from Peru. Logan, GM. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Tyler. I'm doing quite well, despite the market antics. Just took a couple days off from my job duties to enjoy Peru. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I actually feel rather refreshed. I know it might seem crazy that that's even possible, but market aside, I'm doing pretty well.
Well, you picked a few good days to do that. And
That's
actually,
true.
this quick, serious recommendation. And folks, if you're on the timeline and you're doom scrolling and you see all this doom porn, it is healthy to take a break. Put the phone down. Go outside. Normal people outside of CT aren't running around with their hair on fire. So I think that's always a good reality check. So what were you doing in Peru?
My fiance's family came in. She's here for a clinical rotation for her physician assistant school. So her family came in. So we were just showing them around. Yesterday, I went sandboarding, which is like snowboarding down a sand dune. I've never snowboarded before. Obviously, I've never sandboarded. So yeah, just taking in some of the stuff that we don't have the opportunity to take advantage of where I live in rural PA, and enjoying it. And as you noted, being away from the screens, it's been like 4 days now since I opened my laptop, more or less. It doesn't feel quite as bad when you just close it. It does not feel like Chicken Little world is, sky is falling out there. Of course, as soon as you open up the laptop, things change quite dramatically.
Yes. Last night was the most the sky is falling I think I've seen in quite some time on X. And this is bigger than just CT. This is like TradFi X as well. We'll get into it here in a minute. Before we do that, though, Logie, I think you also have a bit of a crypto solves this anecdote from Peru.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I was trying to get some cash out for this excursion yesterday, and just the difficulty in getting funds into my hand from my bank account here into my hand into Peruvian soles to be able to hand over to the folks to go sandboarding. I was standing in line. I had to walk from Western Union to Western Union to other Western Union to another place, do this thing, do that thing. It took me like 5 miles of walking and 2 hours of, just kind of waiting in lines and stuff. And the entire time I was thinking, man, crypto really does fix this. If I could just send some USDC to these folks. And the issue is they have like things like Venmo and stuff, but I need a Peruvian bank account to use the ones that they're using. It's not as simple as just like no intermediary. Let me send some USDC to this gentleman's Ethereum address. So yeah, it's one of those days that it doesn't feel like there are too many of them, Tyler, at least not right now, but it's one of those days where you actually just step back and you're like, all right, you know what? Crypto makes a little bit of sense, at least a little bit of sense.
Well, we love that takeaway live from Peru while you were off from the screens. Mando is on with us. Mando, big day. GM, how you doing?
Yeah, huge day. I'm doing okay. Busy, but good busy. Market seems to be bouncing back slightly, I guess. Definitely doesn't feel like we're going to zero. I mean, all the stuff that I mentioned yesterday has kind of just gotten worse, I would say, in macro. 10-year bond yields went even higher. Stocks went lower. You have the rhetoric increasing from both sides. Interestingly, there's been certain rhetoric, at least over the last few hours, which points to more military-based, I would say. There was a comment from Peter Hegseth saying, we're going to repatriate the Panama
Panama.
Canal. Remember, that is owned by a Hong Kong billionaire who had just sold it to BlackRock, but China was going to block that sale. So I don't know what that means. And then similarly, China just issued a travel warning for its citizens going to the US, which you would normally do in like a in a time of like something's about to go down. Right. So I don't love those two headlines, and I don't love the increase in rhetoric on like on the defense and side. So, but markets are bouncing a little bit. I think people are still kind of wondering what's going to happen here. Like, does Bitcoin feel like an okay hedge suddenly now again to all of this? Even for people from all over the world, like I think this is now affecting a lot of different people, and I think people are wondering where to put their money. Should they put it in Chinese yuan? Should they put it in yen? Should they put it in euros? Should they put it in dollars? And I think a few people are deciding, hey, actually, I think Bitcoin might be the one just to hold over this period. So I put out a tweet before we went live that I kind of felt like Bitcoin it's held the 76.5K level through some wild macro stuff here. Like, and I just get the feeling it could pop. I really do. You're already seeing money printing kind of being announced. I think, Japan said they might basically do helicopter money. China's the only way China can deal with this is by massive stimulus. And then there's some talk about the Fed intervening, but not traditional QE and not like lowering interest rates. So it's like swap lines, making sure banks are well funded. We may see a headline around that, I feel. But
well, I want to go into all of this here in a bit more detail. Before we do that, Amanda, and thanks for teeing up our full market report there. I do want to give a shout out to our show partners here before we really dive in, starting with Galaxis, a Web3 platform empowering creators and brands to build unstoppable communities with full ownership and independence, trusted by icons like Donald Trump, Steve Aoki, Mike Tyson, the NBA, shaping together the future of engagement, and Wallet Connect, the connectivity network shaping the future of on-chain UX. If you've connected to a Web3 app, you've seen Wallet Connect, that blue logo, it's everywhere. An icon of trust in crypto, as recognizable as Visa at the checkout. If you want to learn more, follow at Wallet Connect on X and Telegram to stay ahead of what's next. All right. Well, Mando, I know you kind of already started your market report there, but let's get right deeper into it.
Yeah.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
Yeah, so I guess I did kind of already get into it. Sorry if I jumped the gun there. But yeah, my general view here is that Bitcoin may bounce, but this is not getting better. Like, if people thought this was going to be resolved, this doesn't feel like it's going to get better, at least between China and the US. In fact, it seems to be getting worse by the hour. And as we said yesterday, there's a lot of ways that these two people can hurt each other, and they're both kind of strong men who I don't necessarily think either of them wants to back down. Now the US obviously started almost like a trade war with everyone at the same time. So you could see some better headlines over like deals with Japan or deals with South Korea or deals with Australia, UK, like easier deals. These things do take a little bit of time though. Like, it's not like tradition. The UK has been waiting on a trade deal with the US since Brexit. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, deal done. Like, these things can take a long time often. So let's see. And yeah, particularly about the EU. Like, the EU does not move quickly, and they've said they're going to do retaliatory tariffs as well. So I don't know if I was Trump or the Trump team here, because I think there's some internal division already starting to show here. Like, it might make sense to indicate, you may be willing to do some deals with more allied partners, let's say. And I think that is a headline where probably, if it says US set to announce deal with UK, or set to announce deal with Japan, South Korea, I think the market would rally pretty hard on something like that, because it signals that they're already in the deal making sort of phase of this. But I don't know when that headline's going to come. I think the bullish thing for Bitcoin, which I've said for the last few days, and obviously it's gone lower even on those few days, is that we're about to see unbelievable amounts of money printing. And when it stabilizes, I think Bitcoin really pops because of that. But you just don't know the headline. Like if China invades Taiwan, that's not a great headline. That's really not a good headline. This feels like it's going not terribly that way. Like, maybe North Korea starts to get involved in too. Like that's like a China proxy and has been involved in some of this stuff before, like North Korea versus South Korea. Maybe that flares up. Like this is not just we're going to strong arm China. Like this, they have a lot of different things that they can do, I think. And that's not like saying that they are stronger than the US. I'm just saying that there is some stuff that could go down here if this isn't resolved. So I think you have to just be wary that if you're long, you're praying there's no more crazy headlines and there's some loose level potentially of resolution, at least with allies. But over the next 3 to 6 months, I think this is a very good buying level for Bitcoin. That's my general view. Because I think money printing in this world is about to go wild. And I also think there's a lot of questions about reserve currencies, like what to own. And I think Bitcoin does well in that environment. So I can never predict what's going to happen over the next 24 hours or week at the moment because it's just crazy. But I do think this is a good buying zone here for Bitcoin.
I had that same read. No idea where the bottom is. It could be back at 72K. Maybe it goes lower. Like KBM has been calling for 60s, maybe 50s. But if you are DCAing in, it does feel like a pretty decent level here. And I don't know, I think this has kind of been mocked a little bit from the Bitcoin just trades with traditional markets, but it does feel relatively strong to me. Like it's down 9% on the week. Like I think the Mag 7 is down something like 15 to 17%.
Definitely strong. Bitcoin has really outperformed here. Like you have to understand that this is a classic case of a correlation of one sell-off. And by that, what I mean is every single market is selling off. Oil just went below 60. Stocks are selling off. Bonds are selling off, right? So you have, and even gold sold off for a little bit, right? Like,
yeah,
you have a correlation of one sell-off where everything's going. And I think that will affect Bitcoin. But a lot of the stuff that's happening here is kind of bullish, I would say, for Bitcoin, provided that there's no like World War III. And that's the one kind of uncertainty for me. So yeah, I think DCA or have a long-term view here. I'm not saying that Bitcoin can't go lower. I just feel like this is a good point for it here. This 76.5K level is held through a lot here, and something would have to really go wrong in my opinion now, or yeah, maybe we get some crazy headline, like ship seen off Taiwan, like oh god, and then we could hit like 60K or high 60s, something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
It does. Maybe we're on that trajectory. I mean, this is escalating rapidly. I think that's one of the consensus takes from the chats I'm in, folks who have been following this kind of daily since last Wednesday. Like this China trade war, it was 25%, then 50%, then China matches, US comes back. Now China's escalating. And then now right before the show, this risk warning to travelers. So certainly like that, hopefully just another like sign of escalating rhetoric rather than more than that. Certainly as an American, hope that is the case here. Mando, curious for your thoughts. I mean, last night, like I was on CT on TradFi Twitter, and it really felt like the sky was falling. I think everyone was talking about the bond market and bonds breaking, and this this swap rate going like incredibly like falling off a cliff. I'm curious, like any insight or like what the hell happened last night, and like why aren't we lower? Like I thought when I was watching this all unfold, Bitcoin was going to 75K. I was like, we're going to open deep red tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm less worried about banks not having liquidity. In fact, I kind of see that as semi-bullish, like because I think the Fed would just step in and provide that. I'm more worried about sovereign bond market. So that if that figure goes to like 7% on the 10-year or on the 30-year, like that is not a great scenario. Mm-hmm. And you could see various countries defaulting, and you could see the US even facing real issues with its own deficits, right? I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It feels as though I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule out that is also like a big worry if it keeps on going. China's got $750 billion of treasuries it can sell. There were some reports that they were selling yesterday, but there was also some reports this was actually like a blowing up of a basis trade, which is like unwound between futures and cash. So if it's that and you've still got that China can sell 750 billion, like that's not a great headline either. So yeah, I'm not sure on that one. Like that's the other. If 10-year goes to 6% plus here, that would really worry me.
Definitely one to be watching there and cautious of. I think something that stood out to me was some of the U.S. leadership rhetoric coming out this morning. Trump's all over the place. He's saying, "Pass the tax cut bill now, our country will boom." It feels a little out of left field and not the right.
Be cool. Yes. Be cool.
be cool, everyone. We're going to be bigger than ever here in just a few days. The problem, of course, everyone from CT knows the last time Trump told us to buy something, it was Ethereum, and it went on to fall 50% in the matter of a few weeks. So we are a bit cautious when someone with the last name Trump tells us to buy an asset. Dept coming out and saying for the next 4 years, it's Main Street's turn. I mean, I've been a Dept fan, spoken highly of him. Like this comment feels a little out of pocket. I'm not really sure what it means, and I think there's a lot of evidence that the tariffs would impact Main Street, perhaps even more so.
I think they're winging it. Like, I genuinely do. I think they're just kind of seeing what happens, and then the narrative can kind of shift. I don't think it was really pitched that Trump wasn't gonna be good for the stock market. I think this has just kind of become the pitch now, which is like these are more populist style policies which could really hurt, but they'll be good for us in the medium term. I think a lot of that is just political talk, and that's not like being anti-Trump or anything. I just think that like narratives can shift and they'll own it and they're always going to spin it as like a really good thing. That's just politics.
Yeah. And at the same time, I mean, I think more and more folks are starting to call it like one of the worst policy mistakes in century, effectively. And
yeah, I mean, definitely not. I mean, I think we called it on the show even at the time. Like it's, I think the tariff stuff, the way it was done, is maybe not how I would have done it. But, and again, I just don't. I've read some commentary more recently, which has been like, oh, you know, it was meant to. This has now just become like a China fight, and I actually thought that from the start was kind of what Trump would do. But he's also just kind of, even the comments yesterday, I don't know if you saw, he was like, everyone's kissing my ass to do a deal. Like,
Yeah,
it's not great diplomacy at the same time, I would say. Like, if he had like a lot of friends on his side at this stage, I think his position will be stronger. But what I think people are reading through is that maybe this is hurting US dollar power, and the US is obviously the strongest country in the world and all that. But like, part of the commentary around the rates going wider is that like people are a little bit more like, well, maybe people will run into the hands of China and something like this if this is kind of how your friends kind of get treated. So I think if I was in the administration right now, I would work out how your friends are and do deals with them. Like, it's a very simple strategy for me right now, right? If this is about China, make it about China.
I think there is some sign that they're going to do. That's what they might do.
Yeah. I think that would be the smartest move.
So we will see. I mean, Bessent, I think, is taking more of a leadership role. He's driving the negotiations. I think it's clear that there are some negotiations happening. Trump's lack of diplomacy, not the best, right? Like, if we're going into a trade war with China, who has perhaps even, you could argue, an upper hand, we probably want some allies and not just to piss everyone off.
That's what I mean. And I don't even think you can't. It's not like you don't have to be a strong man. It's just that I think it's gotten to the point where it's like,
you could be strong without being a total asshole. Like,
yeah. And I think that's like, the Europeans, although they're weak, they might not respond well to that. And I think some of the other countries might not either. So, as I said, like, domestic politics is important for politicians from those countries too. Do you know? So if he's just going to like mock people if they need to make deals, then that's, and to be clear, some of the countries have trade surpluses. I've said this a few times. Like, you could do a deal with the UK like that. UK has a trade surplus. Australia has a trade surplus with the US. Like, you should just do a deal, and then it's like, okay, well, now we kind of are starting to guess who our friends are.
One thing that's becoming less of a guess is like the recession odds. I think Jamie Dimon said it's favored at this point. Poly Market's got it favored 65% U.S. recession in 2025. And that means negative GDP 2 quarters in a row. So a worse Q2 certainly seems like it is pretty much a reality at this point. It's because even the negotiations that we're talking about as a positive case are still going to take months to play out. Like, we're talking about April, May, June. I think Bessent said as much. Like, this isn't going to be done next week.
That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say before. Like, these deals can take months. Like, trade deals are some of the most difficult deals possibly to do, because they often involve agricultural bodies and industrial bodies also to agree, and unions, and it's like they can be really, really long. Like, WHO deals, or just general trade deals between countries, like NAFTA took years. Any trade deal can take a long time. So if it's like, hey, we were low tariffs for a trade deal, those things can take months, just even for individual countries. So, but I think that's why I was trying to say, like, with the UK and Australia, you can just drop it. Like, they've got trade surplus with you. You know, they import more than you do. So there's no need to do
off some wins. Let's start checking off some of the names in the 70 country list.
Yeah.
Logan, I see you're nodding. I want to give you a chance to jump in on the conversation. Just reactions to how this is all played out / escalated.
Yeah. Not too much different to add, unfortunately, from the conversations we've had over the course of the last week. Mando said it feels like they're winging it. That's kind of where I'm at. The headlines seem to contradict themselves oftentimes. The commentary contradicts itself. Some of the theses that we initially heard, right? Like, hey, we want to get the 10-year down. Like, maybe it's too early to say invalidated, but it's not working right now if that was actually the thing we were looking to do. It's just, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to be in this position and really say too much. And it's difficult and painful to sit by as someone, who, of course, alongside the rest of you, is losing money, is uncertain. So It's a difficult time. The comment from Besant this morning kind of irked me, more so than maybe any of the others. I just throw Trump's out because whatever, they're all ridiculous. But like that Main Street versus Wall Street thing, it seems so tone deaf. Like at least from what I'm reading, I just saw a Minneapolis Tribune article about how small business just shut down because they can't pay the tariffs. That's Main Street right there. You're talking about. I'm seeing lots and lots of those stories. And Ackman tweeted about some coffee company, right? Same sort of thing. Where is Main Street winning if the stock market's going down tremendously and the cost of goods is going up tremendously? I don't know. So,
yeah, felt a little tone deaf, and he had been better than that. So that was a slip up. If they're going to keep going that route, like, okay, like, tell us more. And like a tax cut isn't going to help that either, right? So it's unclear exactly what the solution is, other than trying to get these trade deals or Ackman's idea of 90-day postponement to at least buy these businesses some time. I don't know if it solves the issue or not. Logie, I know you're a somewhat active trader. Are you looking at any DCAs? Does anything look attractive to you at any of these levels?
I'm just buying Bitcoin weekly. I mean, nothing like crazy, like I'm not throwing like heavy stacks at it, but just continued dollar cost average like I've done for a really, really long time. It feels like the most comfortable thing. And as Mando noted, I'm an even worse predictor of 24 hours a week. And no, it's not my thing. It's not going to be my strong suit. So I'm just I'm gonna add cash to what I feel is the best long-term bet here, and to me, that's quite obviously Bitcoin. Not financial advice, but that's what I'm buying.
Well, I think that seems a decent strategy. Hype, I gotta say, like Hype it's strong. It's the top alt mover today. I had a bit of a deeper conversation with OSF about it yesterday. He shared his thoughts. He leans a little bit more bearish on Hype specifically, but it's now back. So it hit that $10 level. I think it went into the 9s. Yeah, like on Sunday night. Now back at effectively at the level of the exploit. So it's back to 13. So this is an interesting one. I have not pulled the trigger back in yet, but it is clearly showing some strength here. We talk about Fartcoin every day. I don't know that we need to really go deep into it today. It's at 576 million, which is just wild again. I don't know if you saw this while you were away from the screens, Logie, but basically amidst the sky falling, crypto sell-off Sunday night, Black Monday, turnaround Tuesday, then the bond market's breaking last night, this token is holding incredibly strong. Really never went below 500.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, this is a little bit of that second leg of its potential narrative. Everything else is complete garbage. Then you got kind of Fartcoin. It's like everything, nothing matters. Fartcoin. Like that's
a little bit of the financial nihilism.
Yeah.
Take there. I do think that is kind of a part of it. It's like if the sky's falling, all the good tokens are going down. Why not just throw it into Fartcoin? I mean, ETH was at 1390 yesterday. That was the 13 handle was tough to see. Is there a price where you're thinking about switching that DCA over from Bitcoin into ETH? Is that 1,000?
Oh my gosh. It's been that price for a while, it feels like. And I've just never done it, thankfully. All these prices to me for Ethereum are sort of jarring. I don't have the bulk of my crypto experience, although I did participate a little bit in 2017, 2018 and stuff. The bulk of it comes pre-2020, 2021. And so my anchoring for price points for Ethereum, there's not much of a history and context for me below like $1,500. You know what I mean? So all of this stuff is quite jarring. I still just, it is the rails for so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if things really play out the way that I think a lot of people want it to play out in crypto, which is tons of adoption, millions and maybe billions of people using crypto. Like Ethereum almost has to play a role in that. It feels like it. I'm not suggesting it really will, but it does. It's difficult for me to see a world in which there are billions of users participating in crypto, and Ethereum is not one of those like key contributors. But of course, that doesn't mean that the price has to go up. So
I guess it is a tough one. I am aligned with you conceptually. I did like if crypto wins, Ethereum wins, right? I think it's in right after Bitcoin. It's the next part of the conversation, and from a utility standpoint, it enables more, right? But my God, it's at 1490. Like this is barely above the levels when I started buying in December 2020. I got in around 1,000 to 1,200. And I mean, it was 4,000 December 16th, 2024. Like that is jarring.
Yeah.
It's down from 4,000 to 1,400. I mean, there are shit coins down less than that.
Yeah.
In that time frame. So I don't mean to harp on this. Everyone knows ETH is down bad. There has to be a level where this flips to a buy. I don't think it's going to zero. Right. So, let's move on. I think there is another hot token, Logie. We were chatting a little bit about this before the show. Saw a tweet from DGen Ape. Some may know him from. He's a bit of a trader. He's deep in Fantasy Top. He was talking about this prompt token. It apparently prompt is. This is the Wayfinder team token. It is trading on a pre-market somewhere. I don't know if this has been broadcasted very widely. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you had a chance to look into here?
Yeah, so what you're seeing, if you're taking a look at the screen, you see the DGen Ape tweets. They point to a pre-market from Mexi, which does not have a ton of volume. But yeah, about $45,000 worth of 24-hour volume. But it's similar in nature to the pre-markets we've seen from Whales app and others previously. So not a ton of liquidity, not a ton of movement, but there is a price point at which we can at least start to discuss for prompt. And based on what we know from the OKX announcement as well, a 1 billion total token supply. So you see 65 cents was the time of his tweet. I believe before the show, Tyler, I sent it to you. It might have been closer to 8 cents. Mm-hmm. Sorry, not 65 cents, 6 cents. Yeah. 6.5 cents. It was closer to 8 cents when I sent it to you, which would be about an $80 million FDV. If I'm doing that math right, which of course, based on our conversations and disclaimer, I'm a prime casher and I'm expecting to have some sort of airdrop here. Feels low or lower than maybe I was hoping or envisioning. But we'll have to wait and see what the market truly brings us. Unfortunately, and I don't think Kalos and based on that conversation we had last week, which we encourage people to watch to get a better sense of what this actually is. They just seem like builders, man. They're just like, this is revolutionary. This is going to be impactful. We don't really give a shit about the market type thing. It kind of felt like Garga Ape-esque in that way to me, which I like. I like to hear. It is rather unfortunate that there were very much pockets of time in which this could have flown out.
Here's the thing. If this is
kind of at the mercy of others.
If it opens at $70 million FDV, I'm buying. Probably a lot. Like this seems to be the best crypto AI product that we've had to date. And if the best crypto AI product we have to date at 70 million is a bad trade, then I'm just going to have to eat that. And Logan, OSF actually, he pulled me up a little bit. We talked about the AI trade for about 10, 15 minutes. So he's been DCAing back end pretty much with the core thesis that AI is the of course, like the biggest theme in the world it's coming back. It's like there's going to be another crypto AI meta. It's just a matter of trying to predict who the winners are going to be. And he's got his chips on AI 16Z. I think putting your chips on Wayfinder and prompt is fine. I guess or better than 5. I mean, I think it would be one of my top picks. But at the same time, I guess you can make an argument that if prompt is so good, why isn't prime trading higher? So prime at 100 million market cap, 350 million FTV. Like it can prompt flip prime?
Why wouldn't it? I don't. It's difficult for me to see a world where it doesn't. That's a little shocking to me. Of course, this is the way that I am. Hopefully earning prompt is via the cashing of prime. So I've been buying and or had prime. Jesus, in the $25 range. Feels bad to kind of look at this after that. Yeah. I don't stuff. To be quite transparent, I have not looked at the price of ARC AI16Z, and I don't even know what are those at right now.
Are you sure you want to know?
Yeah, sure. I don't own them, so it won't feel quite as bad.
So there's 4 tokens over 100 million now.
Okay.
Alchemy is a very volatile one. It flipped. Like some days it'll be up 30, 40%. It'll be down 50% other days. It's now number 5. AIXBT is 6 at 61 million. ARC is, oh boy, 30.
Jesus.
I was buying that at 400 million when we thought we were starting to turn around after the first dips post Trump coin, because it seemed like it was going to be a winner. Unfortunately, it has not been a winner over the last few months. But to me, and let's put Four Coin aside because it honestly doesn't really belong on the list at this point. I think it could be the number 1. I think prompt could be number 1 on this list.
I definitely think it could be. I'm certainly rooting for that. Even what we've seen in just the small samples of early access, right? Whether you saw it on the stream here or you've been following their Twitter account to see those, like in terms of power and advancement and realness, I don't know what the best way to characterize it is really, but like this is something a bit different than AI16Z. And that's not to knock any of those, but it's different than those things. And it's certainly different from many of the social agents, which is what, Adrian had called them on the stream we had. It's certainly different from many of the social agents we saw that were just replying to Twitter, Zero Bro, things like that were just replying to tweets. So it would not shock me to see it really actually come out at 70 million. It would be well below my initial expectations, but just this market, I mean, come on, man. It's tough. Like, what are you going to do when stocks are falling like 15, 20% over the course of a couple of days or more? Like it doesn't, the brand new AI token deserve to be more than 70 million? Like maybe not, whether that's fair or not. So,
I mean, if you're a believer, it could be the best launch scenario.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, everyone wants like the big airdrop, right? But I feel like that also changes your mindset. Like when a token opens up high and you get a big airdrop, you're incentivized to sell, and then you're almost kind of rooting for it to go down, because you want your sell to have been the right decision, right? And you're a bit conflicted, versus the tokens that come out lower. And then everyone gets to rally around it as it continues to march up to a more true value, and more of the true values of any of these things. It is a tricky launch market for sure, but I think I don't know that this is a team who's going to try to time it, right? Like clearly, if that's all they cared about, they would have forced the launch back into the bubble, and it probably would have gone straight to $1 billion.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you wouldn't have asked, to go way back here. They asked the community when the community wanted to launch the token, when the TGE. Right. So there's a DAO vote for this, and unfortunately, what they had to extend a week or two to make sure things were right, which stinks because it didn't uphold the vote, but also to ensures that there was no complete catastrophe. So I'm okay with that as someone who's expecting some level of airdrop here. But they put it in the community's hands. This wasn't we're going to rush this thing out for ourselves to enrich ourselves or anything like that. So,
yeah, well, we'll certainly see. What also caught my interest in that DJ Ape tweet, I'm not going to go back to it. He said, we'll find out tomorrow. So I don't know anything about TGE coming tomorrow, folks. I don't believe that has been announced in any capacity, but that would be a fun Thursday surprise.
Well, the settlement for the pre-market on MEXC says something like, yes, April 10th. And then I don't know. I don't want to say confidently because I've X'd out of the OKX thing. There was an announcement, of course, that this will trade on OKX. That was retweeted. Yeah, right there. I don't want to say confidently that it said tomorrow, but I believe like the trading starts soonish as well. So
yeah,
that's at least a good place to start if you wanted to get some more information.
We know it's soon. We know it's sometime in the next 7 days. So tomorrow, very possible. We will certainly be looking for it. I want to go around the horn on another couple quick stories on things that could be a buy, like along this. So you may have missed this, Logie, or maybe you caught up. Blockbuster acquisition yesterday. Ripple acquired Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. Hidden Road, one of the bigger institutional payment clearinghouses. They clear $3 trillion a year in transactions. So Ripple kind of becoming a force here. And that inspired Standard Chartered to raise their price targets. So they're now projecting that XRP could jump 200% by the end of this year with a $12.50 price target by 2028. That is a 6x more. I think it's at like $1.75. It's probably closer to like an 8x from here. It's $1.80. Curious, any reactions or has buying Ripple XRP actually ever crossed your mind? And second part, should it be on your mind?
It's crossed my mind from time to time, but not, not for any real like fundamental reasons, more so like narrative reasons, bull market reasons, those types of things. I think it's interesting mainly because if you do start to see a narrative and sentiment shift, and you do get the people on Main Street, you get the more casual crypto investor feeling like crypto could go up soon, which they probably don't feel right now. Ripple's one of the best bets in those instances, right? Those scenarios, like it goes up when people are feeling really, really bullish, and crypto starts to gain more attention overall. That's where it's been like a really strong, it's not like a super strong thesis or anything, right? It's like largely anecdotal that I'm, providing evidence for, but why not? I'd think about it. Yeah. But otherwise,
Main Street crypto token than Ripple?
I don't think so. That's what I mean. Like if
Ripple is Main Street.
Yeah. If people are starting to feel like this is going to happen, there's going to be, I don't know, crypto advancement. I don't even know what the right way to say it is because it doesn't feel like it's coming. That's the second part here where it's just one of the reasons I'm not too interested in buying anytime soon is like the turnaround and the sentiment shift that I would think precedes a Ripple rush upwards doesn't feel like it's coming anytime soon. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm getting at, I guess.
That's fair. And there's probably a few other assets that might run first. What I will say is I feel like, and I've never held Ripple or traded it. I think there's the criticism that it was more fluff. There wasn't a whole lot behind it. Now there is, though. It's like I said this yesterday. It's almost like becoming the fake it till you make it play. And if they have enough capital to acquire these actual powerhouses, maybe the fundamentals actually start to be there. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. And the other one is Coinbase. Coinbase by Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick. They're calling Coinbase stock overweight, but they actually the headline might be interpreted the wrong way. They're calling it a buy. And they pointed to the relationship with Circle and Base's outperformance as some of the drivers. Curious, any quick reactions to that? If Coinbase feels like a buy here or not?
Yeah, I love Coinbase, the brand. I'm a user. I know it gets a lot of shit for more active on-chain participants. But I think this is one of the most important, if not the most important brand for adoption and to act as an ambassador for crypto and its best interests, not only as an ecosystem, but the best interests of its participants as well. So I really like Coinbase, of course. I can't comment too much on the financial stuff just because I don't know them. So I would defer to the analysts, of course. But by all means, the innovations required to advance alongside crypto, create your own L2, stable coins, all that stuff, they've been every step of the way. They've been right there. So I would not bet against Coinbase if you believe in a future in crypto. And I think many of us here, we wouldn't be here otherwise, right? So I'm totally on board with something like this.
It's an interesting one. I feel like my opinion changes almost by the week, by the month. Like one of the bull cases that Kenneth Fitzgerald laid out is that relationship with Circle and the large fees they get. But we also just saw Circle delay their IPOs.
Yeah.
In reaction to the FUD they received when everyone found out that Coinbase makes more fees than they do. So like that fees switch or that fee revenue could be going elsewhere.
I think the really difficult part about crypto stocks is they just feel like they feel too much like proxies to crypto.
Yeah.
And so like, why not just buy Bitcoin? Why not just buy whatever, and I don't have a great argument for, I don't know what the best argument it is to dissuade somebody from of course there's opportunity costs involved when you're buying Coinbase versus buying something else, anything else, whether it be crypto or not. So I'm not sure what to suggest to someone if they were looking to have that argument answered. That would be my lone issue here.
Yeah. As I'm looking at this, it's kind of a question so Coinbase is basically off 50% off high. So it hit 300. It's at 150 right now. Do you think it has a better chance to double and get back to all-time high or Bitcoin? It's like an interesting.
That is
trade.
You know what?
Right there. I
have no reason. I don't have any really strong reason to suggest this, but it feels like it would be easier for Coinbase. I don't know why. Maybe just because
it's been
like 100. Yeah, it's been there, and also like 150K Bitcoin just feels. Yeah, never been there. I mean, it just doesn't feel like it's possible.
It's hard to lay out the path.
You know what I mean?
Right now, on April 9th, amidst the tariff trade war, markets melting down, unless Bitcoin really pulls through that digital gold narrative, which we haven't seen yet. And maybe we'll have to save that. I know our buddy Bob Lucas had some comments. We might have to save those for tomorrow. It's a longer conversation. I did want to catch you up on one big storyline that's taken place while you've been gone. Is we are bringing extinct back from the dead. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the direwolves are returning. Colossal Biosciences is leading the charge on this, and they are taking extinct breeds back. And I don't know the full vision for this, if it's just going to be like museums or like a zoo museum hybrid, or exactly what their plans are. Of course, the meme coiners ran with this, which is a part of the story here. But Romulus and Remus, first direwolves in 10,000 years. Any quick reactions?
I think this is really cool that this is an option. There's so many second order effects. I don't even know. And, having done this now in an administration that hands off, no rules type thing, who the hell knows, what may come next. I saw a lot of Jurassic Park memes alongside this.
It's non-zero.
It is non-zero, which is a little scary. But I guess if I had to choose, Jurassic Park versus major war with China, which also, who the hell knows, I think I'd probably just pick Jurassic Park.
Oh, I'm picking Jurassic Park 10 times out of 10. Those are the options.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we went around the horn. We covered most of the topics. We've got one more special topic here to get into before we end the show. Sadly, Mando had to run, so he won't be here. He'll have to catch us up once this all becomes a little bit more official. But here at FOMO Hour, we have a new show partner announcement. YEET, Sims, what do you need to know?
It's 2 days in a row now I've been on this show. Christ, I might start making it a normal thing when people are out.
We love it.
So yes, we do have a new show partner. Unfortunately, Mando can't be here to announce it. He's had to, as the number one, he's had to be called to the ranks, so he's going out there and working away. But we want to say a massive thank you to Robert, who have been an incredible partner for the last few years. They've been amazing. But we will be moving over to YEET now. You have seen there has been no code the last few days just because there's no... I can see the meme, no Farouk, no code. No, that's not the case. We still do the codes and we still do the stuff when Farouk's away. Don't worry. But we're going to be changing the system. We're changing the sponsor. We're changing the system. There won't be a code going forward anymore. We're not going to be going with that system. Instead, you will need to sign up to YEET using the referral code FOMO Hour. Once you go onto YEET under your user profile, and you need to do it within 24 hours, very important, you add FOMO Hour as a referral code, and you will be in the system. That means every single day when we do the spins, we're doing 1,000, sorry, spin anymore, excuse me. We're going to be playing custom games where people could win a minimum of 1,000 up to quite a lot of money. So there'll be 5 across the week, Monday to Friday. And we'll be doing all these different games with people, getting them involved. You'll still have to come up on stage. That's how you claim the prize. You need to be on stage to do it. So we're still going to continue this. But we will be picking winners from those that have the referral code that we can see in the back on YEET. That's already linked to FOMO Hour. We'll be doing a spinner as normal, and it will go down from there. I can see people saying there's a waiting list and various other things. Yes, it's not live yet, but we're just making you all very aware that it will be soon. When that is, keep an eye on the YEET Twitter, keep an eye on Mando, watch all that, and make sure that you use the referral link FOMO Hour. From there, that is where we'll be picking the winners to bring them up on stage. So you won't have to put in codes, you won't have to be doing retweets, you don't have to do all this. There will just be across Monday to Friday, one picked through a normal raffle type system. Pick them in. You still have to be on the space. It's really important. If you're not on the space, you can't come up, you can't claim your prize. Bring you up, do this whatever game we do from there and see how much money you win. It's really as simple as that. But yeah, new sponsor, new times. I suppose for the first week, we'll get used to how it's going to be going. We took a while to get used to our spins on FOMO Hour. Yeah, excuse me, not FOMO Hour, with Robert. It took a while to get there, but we did get there in the end. I'm sure this will be the same, and I'm sure it'll be pretty damn fun. I've tested the website myself, and it's absolutely fantastic. The custom games are interesting, and if we'll play the trailer again at the end, you can have a look at some of the different custom games that you have on there. We'll be rotating them day in, day out. So some people will play one game one day, some people will play a game another. We'll have a minimum win amount that people will be able to take away at the end of it, even if they don't win big. We'll have a minimum booby prize, if you will, whatever that is, 250, 500, I don't know. But yeah, there's some there's going to be some odds to win some serious cash on the line here.
Nice. Well, that is very exciting. So I'm definitely very interested to see all these new games. I've gotten a glimpse of a few. There's some good ones out there. So I think our listeners and audience are going to love it. Do want to thank Rollbit, incredible partner. They've been our show partner since I joined the show last May. So very grateful for them. Also very excited for this new partnership with YEET. So this is going to be a fun one for sure. And Sims, do we know when we're officially kicking this off?
We're going to be officially kicking this out and shit off from today, right? But when the actual spins or whatever, we keep saying spins, it's not spins, but you know what I mean. The prizes and the giveaways will start from Monday.
All right.
Keep an eye on the YEET Twitter and keep an eye on the FOMO Hour Twitter for the video going live. Once they are live, you know that YEET's live. Go sign up. Using that referral code FOMO Hour is super important. That's the key to entering now. You don't need to be putting codes in. You don't need to be doing retweets every day. You need to be going to YEET. You need to be signing up with FOMO Hour. That needs to be your, in the referral codes in there. You need to put that in. You only get to put one in. You only get to do it once within 24 hours of making an account. Make the account, punch that in, and then you're going to be in the draw every single time. But you just need to be listening to the show, obviously. So if we do your name and you're not there, you're not coming up.
Got it. Well, now you know, folks. So starting next Monday, some new games on the show. So very exciting. Sims, thank you for that overview. I know we'll play the video again as we exit. That is it. That is going to be our show. I want to thank our listeners as always. I want to thank our partners. Thank my co-host Logan. Thanks for jumping in here live from Peru. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until then, go make it a great day.